The rain began long before the campsite came into view. At first it was just a soft tapping on the windshield, gentle and rhythmic, almost calming. But as the road twisted deeper into the forest, the sky darkened, the clouds thickened, and the gentle tapping turned into a relentless downpour. The world outside blurred into streaks of gray, and the trees swayed under the weight of the storm. It felt like the perfect test for a brand new tent trailer that had been waiting for its first real adventure. When the car finally stopped at the empty campsite, the rain was falling in heavy sheets. The air smelled of wet earth and pine, sharp and refreshing. Stepping out of the car felt like stepping into another world. Cold drops soaked through clothes instantly, and the ground squelched under every step. There was no one else around, no voices, no lights, just the sound of rain, wind, and the distant rumble of thunder. Unfolding the new tent trailer in such weather felt both exciting and terrifying. The fabric was stiff, the poles unfamiliar, and every movement was slowed by wet hands and muddy ground. Water streamed down the canvas as it was pulled open, and for a moment it seemed impossible that this thin layer of fabric could protect anyone from the storm. But piece by piece, the trailer took shape. The roof lifted, the sides expanded, and the small living space emerged like a fragile shelter in the middle of chaos. By the time the tent trailer was fully set up, clothes were soaked, hair was dripping, and fingers were numb from the cold. But inside the trailer, something magical happened. The sound of rain changed. Instead of hitting skin and ground, it drummed softly on the canvas roof, creating a warm, cocoon-like feeling. A small lantern flickered to life, casting golden light across the compact space. Suddenly, the storm outside felt distant, almost beautiful. As night fell, the rain grew even heavier. Wind howled through the trees, bending branches and shaking the trailer slightly. Every gust made the canvas ripple, every thunderclap sent vibrations through the ground. For a moment, fear crept in. What if the tent couldn't hold? What if the storm became worse? But mixed with fear was a strange sense of adventure. This was the kind of experience that no hotel or city apartment could ever offer, the raw feeling of being close to nature, vulnerable yet alive. Dinner was simple but comforting. A small stove hissed quietly as soup warmed in a pot, filling the trailer with a rich, savory aroma. The sound of rain outside blended with the soft bubbling of the soup, creating a rhythm that felt strangely soothing. Sitting on a small folding chair, wrapped in a blanket, there was time to reflect on how different life felt out here. No notifications, no traffic noise, no bright screens, just rain, darkness, and the quiet heartbeat of the forest. Later, lying in the sleeping bag, the storm showed no sign of stopping. Water ran in tiny streams around the trailer, and puddles formed near the wheels. Occasionally, lightning flashed through the small window, illuminating the forest in stark white light before plunging it back into darkness. Yet, instead of fear, there was a growing sense of peace. The trailer, though small and simple, felt like a safe island floating in a sea of rain. Sometime after midnight, the rain began to soften. The wind slowly calmed, and the thunder faded into distant echoes. When morning finally arrived, the world looked completely different. The forest was washed clean, leaves glittered with droplets of water, and mist rose gently from the ground. Birds began to sing, their voices fresh and bright, as if celebrating the end of the storm. Stepping outside, the air felt cool and pure. The tent trailer stood quietly on the wet ground, still strong after its first trial. Mud covered the shoes, clothes were still damp, but the heart felt light. What had started as a risky trip in heavy rain had turned into an unforgettable memory, a reminder that sometimes the best adventures happen when things don't go as planned. Looking back at the trailer, there was a quiet sense of pride. It wasn't just a new piece of equipment anymore, it had become part of a story, part of a night spent listening to rain, facing fear, and discovering comfort in the middle of a storm. And deep inside, there was a certainty that this would not be the last rainy night spent under its canvas roof, but the first of many adventures waiting to unfold.